This is KGW News at Sunrise.
This morning, the FBI is still looking for more information about the man accused of kidnapping and keeping a Seattle woman prisoner in his Southern Oregon home. In our top story, we're digging into the suspect's troubling past and connections to a Clark County home. Good morning. Thank you for joining us here on Sunrise. I'm Christine Pitawanich. Today is Friday, August 4th. Let's get things started with a quick look at your forecast. Chris McGinnis in for Rod Hill this morning. Happy Friday, Chris.
Happy Friday to you. And usually this time of the morning, or for quite a while, we've been able to see a little glow on the horizon of maybe the beginnings of sunrise, right? But now that sunrise getting later and later, we're almost 90 minutes away from sunrise now. So what you can't see here will be a little bit of broken cloud cover that is pushing northward out of the central Willamette Valley. We had showers down there last night. They probably won't get here, but the cloud cover may at some point. 65 last check at PDX. As I mentioned, a couple of sprinkles showing up on radar down in Lynn County. Even some thunderstorms late last night down towards Roseburg and Medford. Those are dissipating, but the debris clouds from those may drift our way for the first part of our day today. But that notwithstanding, here going into the afternoon, we've got sunshine, hazy sunshine, and high temperatures today in the upper 80s. Your weekend forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Okay, thank you, Chris. We begin with the man suspected of kidnapping a Seattle woman and locking her in a makeshift cinder block cell at his home. Fortunately, the woman escaped. Turns out, before the suspect, Nagasi Zuberi, moved to Klamath Falls, he lived in Clark County. Mike Benner spoke with the suspect's neighbor, who says they thought something was off from the start.
This Clark County home right by Prairie High School is where Nagasi Zuberi lived from summer 2022 to spring 2023. Neighbors tell us they had a bad feeling about the 29-year-old, and that includes Danny Bratzkoff.
He did make some threats towards me that he was going to stab me or kill me if he catches me outside somewhere.
Get off my property. Get off my property.
Bratzkoff says this cell phone video he shot is proof of Zuberi's bizarre behavior.
That night that he was yelling at me, he literally looked like a killer. Literally, his eyes were just, it was actually scary.
I stayed away because I knew he was a hothead.
This woman did not want to share her name, but she also lived near Zuberi. She wasn't aware of what he did for a living, only that he made some cash by breeding and selling pit bulls, about 10 of them, and subleasing space in his house.
Like, he was subleasing every single space that you could possibly, like literally the living room, I think they had like a little open area when you come up the stairs, kind of like a loft area. He was subleasing that. There were beds there. Like, it was weird. There was a lot of different people.
While it may have been weird, it pales in comparison to what the FBI revealed about Zuberi on Wednesday. Federal agents say in mid-July he solicited a woman for sex in Seattle, then told her he was an undercover cop and she was under arrest. Zuberi then shackled the woman and drove her 450 miles south to his new home in Klamath Falls, sexually assaulting her along the way. Inside the garage of this home Zuberi was renting, from the mayor of Klamath Falls of all people, he's accused of locking the woman up in a cinder block cell.
The woman fought for her life, beating the doors and the walls of this cell with bloodied hands. Through her perseverance, she broke free and waved down a passing motorist.
Within hours of the woman's daring escape, police captured Zuberi in Nevada, one of the 10 states he's called home in the last 10 years. And since his arrest, detectives have tied Zuberi to 3 more sexual assaults in 3 of those states. And they fear there could be even more victims. And perhaps that explains why the FBI paid Bratzkoff and his roommates a visit earlier this week.
There was multiple victims. There was multiple girls that they showed pictures of to us, and they were asking us if we knew about these people or these girls. We obviously didn't know any of them.
What Bratzkoff and other neighbors do recall is seeing a young woman crying outside Zuberi's Vancouver home months ago when he still lived there.
My husband's like, do you want us to call the cops? Like, do you need help? Do you want some tea? Like, it's freezing out here. And she's like, no, I'm not going to tell you what he did to me. She said those exact words.
Words that now haunt Zuberi's old neighbors, who are relieved he's off the streets and behind bars.
So I'm so happy that he's gone, and hopefully it's going to be for a while.
I'm Mike Benner for KGW News.
People living in one Vancouver neighborhood are shaken after a car careened into a home, killing one person inside. The crash happened around 6:30 last night. Catherine Cook has the details.
First responders surround the house at 4th Plain Boulevard and Fruit Valley Road in Vancouver Thursday night. A closer look shows where a red car broke through the fence and crashed into the home. Vancouver police say a woman inside the home and a family pet were killed. 2 other people who live here are now displaced. Katrina Homola lives a block away.
I think it's absolutely crazy. Like, I can't imagine being in my house and thinking that I'm safe, having dinner or whatever, and the next minute, you're gone.
Medics took the driver of the red car to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police say impairment and speed were both factors in the crash. A short time later, witnesses described a second unrelated crash in the same intersection.
This white Honda CR-V that was coming down pretty fast and just blew through all of the police cars, through the caution tape. It sounded like he clipped the end of the fire truck that was parked in front of this house.
Haley Dale says she watched as police helped the driver out of the car.
He was kind of stumbling around a little bit.
And drove him away in handcuffs. For everyone here, it's a lot.
It just breaks my heart for the family.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Now to Estacada, where a restaurant owner with an interesting idea is wondering whether it's backfired. She's been in business for years, but as Alma McCarty found, it's her most recent staffing addition that's getting some complaints.
He's new. There's only like 20 of them 20 Play-Dohs around the world.
When Sherry Andrus brought in Play-Doh to her Estacada restaurant, she expected the smiles and the curiosity.
He is cute.
What she didn't expect in the beginning was the backlash.
There are some people who will be in the dining room and say, don't bring that effing blah, 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 blah to my table. I don't want him. So, and we respect that. And I've had people text me and say, I don't mind going to your restaurant, but I do not want to be served by that robot.
And not just directly or in person, but also online, telling her she's moving her business, the Cazadero, in the wrong direction for using a robot.
So I understand that fear. What I don't understand is why they don't just try and understand that it's not replacing people and not just say, I'm never coming to your restaurant again, but come here and say, oh, I get it.
His purpose as a tool, not a replacement, especially on a busy night.
As a server, as a bartender, I don't have to be stressing. That bell is dinging, all these people's food is up. I know Play-Doh is there. I can focus on you 100%. Play-Doh can bring the food. As soon as I am done, I could go to those people and go, how is everything? And they can go, I need some ranch dressing. And I'm like, let me go grab that for you.
In her 5 years of ownership, she's faced the same struggles as many owners statewide, from a pandemic and a decline in customers to rising costs and a labor shortage. But given the location, Sherry says the challenges come with a twist.
We advertise outside and people, once they Google Estacada, they realize it's too far of a commute for them, and so they just drop and say, too far, and so you're kind of stuck with what you have here.
To help the dedicated staff she does have, Play-Doh does the trick.
There we go, table, big TV.
And while she can't win everyone over, for the ones who do venture in, she can make the service better.
It's just being open-minded enough to understand why the tool was implemented in the first place. I want them to have more quality time with the guests, and that's what Play-Doh helps us do.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
In our top national story this morning, former President Donald Trump is back at his New Jersey home today after being arraigned and arrested in Washington, D.C. yesterday. The former president pleaded not guilty to multiple felonies regarding efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election. NBC's Bree Jackson has the latest from Capitol Hill.
Former President Donald Trump pleading not guilty to charges related to efforts to overturn 2020 election results.
This was never supposed to happen in America.
Trump stood before the judge facing 4 criminal counts, including conspiracy to defraud the U.S. government and conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. Prosecutors argue he schemed to keep himself in power after losing the 2020 election. The current GOP frontrunner claims, without evidence, that the case is an effort to interfere with his chances of winning the 2024 presidential race.
So if you can't beat him, you persecute him or you prosecute him.
Some of the officers who defended the U.S. Capitol on January 6 attended Thursday's arraignment.
Most of the witnesses that have been corroborating all these action or inaction on that he did or didn't do had been Republican themselves.
Republican candidates are weighing in.
I do think that on this same set of facts, anyone not named Trump would not have been indicted.
It also reflects the seriousness of the issue the voters have to face in 2024.
Voters are divided.
For them to nitpick him to death is a crime against our country.
I would like to see my party open their eyes to see what's going on, to cut ties with him and move forward with other candidates.
If convicted, the charges could lead to a lengthy prison sentence for the former president. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.